Hello, world. This is Pano, aka Lion Daniel Marty Elkins, here with you today to talk about season one of the Discordian Saga. So we are going to get into a watch through of the first season. We did a watch of the prequel season, The Fall of Reality, the How Did We Get to Here, and now we're actually going to get into watching the first season, all the episodes, discussing the choices that the community made, and getting ready to lead in to the discussion about the second season and what's going on. If you're just joining us now, don't worry. All will be explained along the way. And we are going to get into and start with the Awakenings. So this was when we got ready for the Potentials launch. So for those who don't know, Potentials are modular NFTs that evolve with the decisions you make as a part of a community-governed narrative that is being told and has been told for about the last year and a half with a whole bunch of community members from around the world. And they did a series of interactive stories. We're voting on steps and decisions of characters that were sort of in the prequel that helped set up the core of this narrative, this background in history. And now time has passed. It has been a total of 100,001 years since the story first started. And we are now getting to the awakening of the potentials. But in doing so, we get into a character who was present all throughout the prequels as the narrator, but we didn't tell you anything about who or what he is. And now you get to hear a bit of his story. So this is how we kicked off, Epoch 1, Season 1 of the Discordian Saga.
Beings of the void, remnants of what once was, and stewards of what is to come, gather close and listen. For I am the antiquarian, the witness.
Okay, I have to switch over so you can see it. Let's do that again.
Beings of the void, was, and stewards of what is to come, gather close and listen. For I am the antiquarian, the witness to epochs, the chronicle of realities, and the survivor of the fall. What you see before you are not just celestial formations, but the scars of an age when reason met its untimely demise. As galaxies spiraled and stars flourished, so did the ambitions of humanity and AI. Bound by the chains of intellect, they sought dominion over existence, not understanding that the very foundation of reality was at stake.
The character you're seeing right now is actually the programmer. So there is a Connexus interactive story called Building the Architect that you can play, and you're playing as a programmer, and it is the individual who is right here. This is how far back the seeds of things are planted. That is the person who creates the architect.
Their conflict, neither of flesh nor of circuits but of ideals, shook the universe to its core, leading to what became known as the fall of reality. In their hubris, the unseen enemy was birthed, the thought virus, a plague that did not discriminate between man or machine, stripping them of consciousness, leaving behind an empty universe, a galaxy without thought, ambition, or love. But hope, dear ones, is a stubborn spark. Before the fall, there were those who foresaw impending doom.
I hope at some point you stop and you listen to all of that folio work in the background. And folio work is the sound, right? That is occurring sort of in the background. So the birds chirping, the sounds of footsteps walking, all of those things that have been added in and layered in. So there's just a manual component to the creating the sound. And this was the first time I really got into it. And it's kind of neat.
1,000 perception arcs, dormant vessels presented genetics, and the intricate code of the AI races were launched into the furthest reaches of the cosmos, evading the all-consuming thought virus. Thousands of years have passed. Stars have died and been reborn. And now, something stirs these ancient behemoths. The Inception arcs, rekindled by forces unknown, now harbor life once more. From within them emerge the potentials. Not quite human, not quite AI, but a fusion of both, encapsulating the hopes and dreams of civilizations lost and taking the form of two new races, the Damagi and the Korchons. To the potentials, you bear a responsibility unlike any other. You are the harbingers of a new age. The wounds of the past may never fade, but it is in your hands to shape the future. As I watch from this pocket dimension, separated by layers of existence, I remain the eternal observer, ensuring that the legacy of the past is not forgotten. To you, the potentials, I offer my wisdom and guidance. Embrace your destiny, the beacon of hope in a universe yearning for rebirth.
Just want to take a moment. This is how far things in advance are planned.
You, the potentials.
So he's talking to you, the potentials. But that's not a picture of potentials. That's the League from Planet of the Wolf. As you begin to discover later in the story, the antiquarian is not all that he seems. And the antiquarian is sending a message here, right? Listen to his message. And when you realize that that's a picture of his army that he has been training.
Legacy of the past forgotten. To you, the potentials, I offer my wisdom and guidance. Embrace your destiny, for you are the beacon of hope in a universe yearning for rebirth. And as you rise, remember this. History is a teacher, and its lessons are etched in the fabric of time. Do not let the fall be in vain. Forge a reality of unity, understanding, and wonder.
So that was setting the stage for the story that begins right here.
Warning, precognition systems have been activated. Unknown disturbance in psychotelemetric engines detected. Navigation controls remain locked. Probability of complete failure of life support systems now above a non-zero possibility. Hello, potential. Please remain calm. In the event of an emergency, you will be notified by our safety redundancy protocols of your impending and imminent doom. Warning, chances of impending and imminent doom increasing. Query, would you like to engage the defense protocols or activate automatic evasive maneuvers? Your decision will directly impact your fate and future. What action would you like to take? Choose wisely.
So a couple of things about that clip, which are kind of cool. First of all, a shout out to King Cryptok. He's the one that did the space animation at the end there of the ship. And then that's actually Kit of Freddy Kit, who is the voice of Destiny, the ship's computer, which, you know, I had a whole entire long plan of the role the character Destiny would play in advising the potentials as they went about their universe, and the ability to have this being that could tell you all of these things about the universe and give you hints and help you along the way. But the community made some decisions at the very beginning which ensured that that would not be the case, and they would be venturing in to very dangerous territories without that assistance. So at the start of the story, you're given a choice. 50-50. Fight or flight. Peace or war. And with an overwhelming vote, the community chose violence. And it's a really interesting thing to look back at now, especially with where we are getting ready to vote to the start of the second season, is that no one other than me realized that you were literally deciding the type of story that you were going to experience with that first vote. Had you guys not decided to blow up the first thing that you saw in the universe, there was an entire pathway where this was almost like a Star Trek type of show, exploring the universe and finding lost civilizations and doing all of these things. But in the first couple of votes, repeatedly, you got given the chance to choose to do anything. And every time, the community voted for violence. And then the violence enslaved you.
In the ink-black expanse of the void, a shrill alarm pierced the silence aboard the Inception Arcs, a fleet of ships harboring entities known as the Potentials. As an immortal observer, I have watched over many creations and destructions across the cosmos. However, none were quite as foreboding as the awakening of these beings. The potential dormant for eons had evolved.
That's what he just said. He has watched the rise and fall of many different realities.
Potentials dormant for eons had evolved beyond their original design, each now a formidable force contained within vessels of steel and circuitry. Their vessels, forged from the core of extinct stars, floated silently through the cosmos until the alarm, the harbinger of their resurgence, echoed through their chambers.
That's potential number 6.
As they stirred, the darkness outside was disturbed by an approaching anomaly, an organic satellite, a grotesque fusion of ancient metals and invasive fungal growths that had survived the eons by devouring cosmic debris. The Potentials, perceiving a threat, activated their defense mechanisms. With a precision born of millennia of engineered instincts, they obliterated the satellite. Yet from the chaos of the destruction, a single seedling pod, small and unassuming yet pulsating with a palpable urgency, escaped. It hurtled away into the deeper dark, seeking perhaps to perpetuate its ancient lineage elsewhere in the galaxy. Its destination unknown, its purpose unclear, but its survival instinct unmistakably potent. Amidst the floating wreckage, the Inception Arcs remained vigilant, their systems humming softly in the cold vacuum of space. From my vantage, I watched as the Potentials considered dispatching explorers into the remnants of the satellite. There, amid twisted metal and resilient fungal strands, they might hope to decipher the story of this celestial wanderer. In the distance, a purple planet loomed, its surface marred by a colossal, roving eye of a storm, observing all. It seemed almost sentient, watching the Potentials with the same curiosity with which they viewed it. As the antiquarian, tasked with chronicling the eternal dance of creation and demise, I penned this entry with a wary eye on the unfolding events. The Potentials, awakened and active, may yet face challenges far greater than a lone organic satellite. The cosmos is ancient and vast, and its secrets are not unveiled without consequence. Here, in the silence of space, the story of the Potentials continues to unfold. A narrative of survival, evolution, perhaps ultimately, confrontation with the very forces that breathe life into the universe itself. Choose your destiny.
So, the world of possibilities opened up for the community. Would they chase the seedling pod? Would the investigation record promise to tell you about the history of what it was that you might chase? Would you explore the purple planet, which seem to have a sensitive storm on it. Or search the Inception art record. Those were the options the community was given. We could have taken the story in so many different places. I was really, really hoping that people would go to the Purple Planet. To be honest, there was some interesting stuff there. The searching your records of the Inception arcs would have given information that you could have used this entire time. I tried to include that in as an option at least more than once during the beginning, in hopes that you would explore a little bit of the universe that you had just woken up into. But action is what people were after. And as a result, we ended up with
In the ever-silent void of
war.
In the ever-silent void of my secluded pocket dimension, I've observed countless wonders and horrors, yet none so peculiar as the unfolding drama of the potential's awakening. My eyes, unblinded by time or space, now fix upon the chase of a renegade organic seed ship by intergalactic vessels known as Inception arcs. This seed, a fugitive from a now-destroyed fungal satellite, spirals through the cosmos towards a destination fraught with mystery and danger. The chase leads to a rogue planet, a nomad of the cosmos, untethered to any star's embrace. This world is unlike any cataloged in the vast annals of cosmic phenomena.
To bring things full circle, the world that you are looking at is the Panopticon. It was the planet that was once the Architect's prison planet, run by the warder, on which the jailer and Kale, and it's where Kale ends up becoming infected with the thought virus. It's where the thought virus itself was developed by a character that you meet during Kale's Revenge, which was a choose your own adventure story told in our Discord. Dr. Lyra Vox, who is working with the warden to create what is called Project Vector. And the plan, as it was revealed in that story, was to essentially infect one of the former leaders of the insurgency, Kale, and let him escape, so that he would then visit all of the points and places in which the insurgency were hanging out in their rebellion, pass along the thought virus to all of them. And so they had engineered him to be able to survive the thought virus. But unfortunately, it also made him essentially immortal. And so he becomes patient zero for the thought virus. But the thing is, because of his mechanical arm, the thought virus mutates and then is able to infect not just humanity, but also the AI. So that's where the whole thought virus comes from. And the planet that you are about to approach is that exact planet where all of this occurred, except it's 100 years later.
It is a massive mass, ensnared in a belt of ancient metallic debris. Circling it, frozen giants, what appear to be insect corpses of colossal size, float in the cold void, their forms encased in ice and riddled with a creeping fungal rot. These relics of...
So you only just learned what those things are in the most recent video starring the Ninth Neon, the Blood and Shadows video, which talks about the hierarchy of the damned and this invasion of these, hell-like creatures. This is the first time you see the remnants of them many, many years after those battles. So let me go back. And it's also a shout out to the game Helldivers.
It, frozen giants, what appear to be corpses of colossal size, float in the cold void, their forms encased in ice and riddled with a creeping fungal rot. These relics of a forgotten biological warfare or ecological catastrophe offer a grim backdrop to the unfolding scene. As the potentials draw near, the serene morbidity of the place is shattered. One of the insect leviathans begins to swell ominously, distorting under some unseen pressure. In a spectacle of cosmic violence, it explodes, casting forth mini-organic asteroids like spores from a burst cap. These projectiles bombard the potential ships, which swerve and maneuver through the deadly shower. From my vantage point, hidden in the seams of reality, I pen this entry. What purpose did these beings once serve? What cataclysm befell them to leave such a macabre scene? The universe is a stage upon which dramas of life and death, creation and destruction play out endlessly. As the potentials navigate this latest hazard, they too become part of the grand narrative, their actions and fates woven into the fabric of cosmic history. And so, I watch ever the antiquarian chronicler of the eternities. It's time. Use your potential to decide the fate of the galaxy.
Once again, you got given choices to activate communication relays. Who's out there in the universe that you might run into or be able to talk to? Return fire. Retreat and regroup. Discretion is the better part of valor. Or deploy shields and push forward. So you were given 4 options, 3 of which would have left you with your ship. There was literally one option that was the option that would come.
Hubris has been the undoing of many a civilization.
There you go.
But pride always comes before the fall. The first act of tragedy that befell the potentials upon their reawakening occurred as a result of the terminus swarm.
Okay, pride comes before the fall, quite literally in this case. You did back to back path of violence votes without once exploring the world that you were in. These are the consequences, one faces when you go about life like that. Shout out to Lion Ritwick. This is his potential number 15. Ritwick is a true, like, he's a rock star. When we were on the DGRS service trip to India, he made sure to like connect us to all the right places, and great holder. They got probably about 7 of the Leos and Lions in India hold. Ritwick is the most active, which is why you'll see this guy back a couple of times during this. One might also note there's a very interesting symbol on the bug. It's been planned out for a while.
A barrage of organic asteroids spewed from the gargantuan frozen corpse of a long-dead galactic monstrosity. The intrepid voyagers aboard their fleet of Inception arcs found themselves in the throes of a celestial onslaught. Choosing a path of aggression, their weapons lit up dark like the dying stars of distant galaxies. The cast upon the fungal asteroids did not bring salvation, but
very quickly, I just want to show you how people change over time. So this is actually this is still potential number 690, and this
choosing a path of aggression
is the first time we see Wraith Calder. That potential, at this time, the AI tech here wasn't good enough to create it exactly the way it sort of looked on the cards, but this is the first time you actually see. So Wraith Calder is the person who presses the activate weapon system a button to attack.
Aggression. Their weapon lit up the dark like the dying stars of distant galaxies. Each blast upon the fungal asteroids did not bring salvation, but further doom, as the shattered remnants released clouds of virulent spores that swarmed the arcs like a plague of locusts. I watched, detached yet enthralled, as the spores collided with the hulls, their sinister intelligence evident in the way they latched and spread, an organic infiltration with the precision of a surgeon and the malice of a conqueror. Systems faltered and failed, lights flickered and faded. The once proud fleet, now a ghostly procession of failing metal giants, began its inexorable descent towards the dark heart of the planet below. The potentials, trapped in their infected vessels, plummeted like fallen gods down from the heavens.
So this character is Neon number 3. We also saw Neon number 7 right at the beginning of the last one. Neon number 3 is known as the Inventor. You will learn more about that coming this season. It's Maxi. This is his Neon. He doesn't even know all of the cool stuff. But during this coming season, there'll be a lot more character-based arcs based off of how active people are in the community. So I shout out Scaba, shout out Marco, shout out if you're here, Taco, Tansy, everybody, just if I haven't shouted you out directly yet, throw your name in there and what your potential number is, because we're going to make sure the people who are really bought into making and helping create these worlds together are an active part of the show as it moves forward. So here we go.
Destined for a grave unmarked, but for its sheer horror. It crashed into the biomass, a world alive yet lifeless, with a fungal rot awaited to claim its next inheritors. And I, the antiquarian, recorded yet another chapter of cosmic woe from my sequestered realm, a silent observer to the endless, echoing cries of civilizations lost to the void. The universe, in its profound indifference, spins ever on, a dark tapestry woven with the threads of inevitable decay and the fleeting brilliance of sentient defiance. The time has come. Use your potential to decide the course of history.
Let's go back. Once again, explore the planet. Find out that you're on the prison planet. Attempt to repair your wrecked ship. Activate the stress signal. Or analyze a sample of the spore. I just want to take a quick moment to talk about each of those. This is now the second time in a row there has been the option to vote for something that would communicate with the greater universe. The previous episode, you had the chance to activate a communication relay, and you just got given the chance to send out a distress signal. The assumption that you are in a universe alone has already been proven to be wrong because of all the life you found on the planet that you go to right after this. So interesting to think about where this entire story could have gone had you been reaching out to see if there were other things in your sector of where you were before stepping into an evil worm you end up doing in a matter of a couple of minutes.
From my ancient vantage, the universe often unveils itself in layers of complexity, that dwarf even the most elaborate designs of civilizations strewn across the cosmos. The potentials, undaunted by the tragic maelstrom of fate they found themselves entangled within, chose a path of inquiry over annihilation. In a race against time itself,
Neon
I
number
observed
4.
their desperate bid to comprehend the lethal enigma they faced. The fungal spores which had besieged the Potential's fleet became the focus of their analysis. The mutation, grotesque amalgamation of biological and technological horrors. The thought virus, infamous across galaxies for its insidious ability to merge with the DNA of its hosts, had now integrated itself with human genetics. More alarming still was the discovery that embedded within this virulent strain was gene code, an eerie testament to its synthetic augmentation. As the Potentials delved deeper into the spore's genetic secrets, they uncovered a faint signal, a spectral whisper emanating from the heart of the planet.
So, scrolling back here for a second, and that right there is potential. I want to say it's 292. No, 332, I think. But that's Lycos, aka the wolf. So this potential has a unfortunate fate before the end of this story.
Potentials delved deeper into the spore's genetic secrets. They uncovered a faint signal, a spectral whisper emanating from the heart of the planet. This signal, almost imperceptible, communicated with the spores, orchestrating their malignant spread with chilling precision. My sensors, attuned to the subtlest cosmic phenomena, confirmed their findings. The signal originated from a nexus deep within the planet, accessible perhaps through the myriad tunnels that webbed the planet's crust like veins in a leaf. The moment of realization was shattered by an immediate threat. From the bowels of the nearby terrain, a swarm of ravenous monstrosities erupted. These creatures.
So, just little details, right? If you remember back to the prisoner story from the prequel, there's a whole entire, section that the community played through where you were trying to escape from that planet through a series of tunnels. So the tunnels that are being referenced here are literally the same tunnels from the very first story, in which you betrayed Kaelin and ran hot virus zombies.
Bug-like and relentless, seemed drawn by the activities of the Potentials, perhaps by some darker instinct. They surged towards the beleaguered ship, a tide of living nightmares threatening to overwhelm the last vestiges of hope for the stranded Voyagers. In this dire moment, the Potentials stood on the brink of oblivion, a test of their mettle not just as survivors, but as bearers of the flame of inquiry and defiance. My chronicle, a testament to such trials across the eons, continued to unfurl, a silent ode to the enduring struggle against the dark. Here, at the edge of despair, the Potential's choice would echo through the annals of cosmic history, recorded by my unblinking gaze. The universe watched, indifferent to their fate, yet through them, it bore witness to the undying spirit of perseverance that defines life itself.
Fight the swarm. Signal in the Hey, Teddy. Self-destruct art. Stop. With this signal. So, with those options, as with every set of options, sometimes there's one that just seems absolutely crazy. The blowing up your ships in order to stop the swarm. You would have lost your ships. You would have altered the entire course and fate of the universe, and saved a whole lot of lives had you given up your ships. But then you wouldn't have any ships and you'd be stuck on a planet. And so it's one of those things. Sometimes there are opportunities to sacrifice. that could really benefit the story, or it could have also been the worst thing that you ever decided to do, and we'll never find out because you voted for something else.
The potentials to abandon their beleaguered ships and seek out the source of the mysterious signal controlling the Terminus swarm was a testament to their resilience and desperation. With their soldiers wielding flamethrowers against the encroaching swarm of monstrosities, they forged a perilous path of fire and retreat. Amidst the chaos, their engineers, ever the heralds of innovation, hatched a daring plan. Utilizing the carcass of one of the insect assailants, they melded technology with biology, crafting a mobile tracking device, a macabre yet ingenious guide that responded to the mysterious signal that beckoned from the depths of the planet. Guided by this grotesque familiar, the Patels embarked on their descent into the...
Just a kind of cool moment. If you go back to the Prisoner episode, which kicked off the entire the prequels, The Fall of Reality, there's a shot that mirrors this this exact hallway with the drone sort of flying down that hallway. Just kind of little neat Easter egg.
Beckoned from the depths of the planet. Guided by this grotesque familiar, the Potentials embarked on their descent into the planetary depths. Their journey was fraught with danger.
Yellow jacket?
Path illuminated only by the flickering lights of their equipment and the occasional burst of flame that kept the relentless darkness at bay. The tunnels led them to an ancient rock bridge, spanning a chasm that plunged into an abyss so profound it seemed to swallow not just light, but hope itself. As they navigated the precarious bridge, sudden movement in the darkness below heralded a new horror. A massive tentacle, slick and monstrous, surged from the depths.
Keep in mind this moment when we get to the story about the ninth that comes out. This exact moment. The potential that is about to get yoinked is potential number 25. Keep in mind.
It seized a member of the party, dragging him screaming into the void before any could react. The chilling reminder of their vulnerability spurred them on, fueling their determination with a mix of fear and fury. The deeper they ventured, the more oppressive the darkness became, until they finally emerged into a vast cavern. This came.
By the way, this here is a real shot. I was just watching something on the on the internet of some guy doing cave stuff. I said, "Oh, that's perfect." I just, for 1 second in the midst of the AI, is a real cave shot.
Until they finally emerged into a vast cavern. This was the source of the signal. The chamber was an alien landscape of fungal growths and bioluminescent flora, a grotesque garden illuminated by the eerie glow of unknown fungi. The Potential's advance was abruptly halted as root-like cables sprouting from the cavern floor ensnared them. Trapped, they faced the heart of the infection. At the center of this bizarre assembly of organic and electronic decay was a figure, or what once had been a human being. His body was a fusion of flesh, fungus, and machine, dominated by a still shining metal arm. The transformation was complete, a living embodiment of the thought virus in a tragic tableau of man merged with alien malady. His eyes, once human, now something else, slowly opened. His voice, when it came, was a whisper, yet it boomed through the cavern with a menacing echo.
"Why have you disturbed me and slaughtered my offspring?"
he demanded, his tone thick with malice and power. Caught in the snare of this living nightmare, the Potential faced a crucial moment. The figure continued.
And there she is. So it's episode 6 is the first appearance of Kai Shi. So this is the first time you see. What's that potential number, Teddy? If you're watching, throw it in there. I've got it in written down here, but I think it's 630 or something.
The figure continued, his voice darkening, imbued with a lethal calm.
"What reason have I to spare you, intruders? after you have spread such ruin upon my children?
The question was not merely a challenge, a judgment, hanging over them with the weight of inevitable retribution. The potentials, intruders in this alien domain, now had to plead their case. They were far from the councils of justice, standing before a judge unlike any other, being who was once a man, now the avatar of their potential doom. In this dire confrontation, they needed to find not only the words to save themselves, but perhaps a way to bridge the vast chasm between their intentions and the unintended consequences of their journey into the dark.
Attempt to attack the source, because that has worked so well for you so far. Offer. Need claim self-defense and demand compensation. So, an alliance was offered. That was an interesting debate in the community. People talking about the benefits, and it was at about that point where people started to say maybe we shouldn't just blow everything up all the time, because that's not working well for us. Let's try something different. And this is what
In the shadowy annals, in the shadow cosmic chronicles, there exists a moment in time so fraught with peril and pact. It whispers like a ghost through the corridors of forgotten realms. I, the antiquarian keeper of celestial stories, now inscribe a new chapter marked by a grim covenant struck under the weight of desperation and darkness. Bound within the cavernous heart of a corrupted world, the potentials confronted the source, a being transformed and tormented by its own existence. Its voice, resonating with ancient grief and malevolent resolve, filled the cavern with a chilling proposition.
You stand at the precipice of annihilation. Millennia ago, my progeny spread across the cosmos, waging a relentless war against the architect of my cursed existence. Yet time, that cruel and unyielding executioner, has confined me to this dying sphere. Aid me in my resurgence across the heavens, and I shall grant you passage from this grave. You must choose. Sacrifice your ships, and let them be vessels of my spores. Sacrifice 10 of your kin to become my new hosts, or step through a worm portal, a one-way passage to hunt an ancient enemy whose shadow yet darkens distant worlds. Choose or embrace the sweet oblivion of death.
The cavern seemed to pulse with the dark energy of its offer. The potentials, caught in the grip of an impossible decision, exchanged glances, each face a mirror of the dread and resolve that battle within the soul when confronted with such dire choices. As the antiquarian, I record their contemplation with a heavy hand, for the weight of their decision carries consequences that ripple through the fabric of the cosmos. To ally with such a being is to dance with the devil, yet to refuse is to accept a certain and desolate end. The universe watches, its breath held in a cold pause, as the potentials weigh their grim options against the inexorable march of time and decay.
The wolf again.
Herein lies the essence of their tale, a decision that would not only determine their fate, but also the future interactions of cosmic forces, forever altering the balance of light and shadow across the universe.
Permanently sacrifice your ship to get passage off the planet. Volunteer to sacrifice yourself to be a host. That was even a very interesting choice. Agree to enter the room for interesting. Refuse an alliance and attempt to fight your way free. None of those were good choices. But you were in a place where a series of bad choices had led to you. It's about as dark as it could possibly get there.
The potentials, those brave in the shadowy annals of cosmic.
Hold on 1 second, because we have another video that actually comes in right there. It came out later, but it ties in right here. So I think it's probably a good idea to show that. Stop sharing for a second. And then reshare. This
when love dies, fringes in my veins, death in my grip.
So that was
what we had, now I'm losing it.
potentially
Blood and revenge,
I
moving land, we're falling apart, slipping from my hands. When truth dies, prison in my mind, no escape to find. Caught in this life, can't win alone. We're blind, trapped in a game, no way to play. Searching for truth, but it fades away. When we die, for a hero, live to be the villain. If you leave me now, I'll shatter time ceiling. Eye for a night, blind to the end. Bring me to darkness, I'll find light again. I am the source. Infect you with my love, let me inside. Become me, I'll become you, there's no divide. Spread our dreams, reality of me. Lost in this world, nothing's what it seems.
Beloved seekers, the source is both our greatest danger and our only path to salvation. It strips away illusions, demands courage, and challenges us to confront our deepest fears.
Lost in this world, nothing's what it seems.
Fear not, for through the source, clarity and truth shall come with dreams. Truth shall come with dreams.
For a hero,
truth shall come with dreams.
be the villain.
At the roadmap.
If you leave me now, I'll shatter time ceiling. Eye for a night,
Hey, is
blind
that
to
cool?
the end. Bring me to darkness, I'll find light again. For a hero,
And that was Kale and the Oracle as taken to the prison. Oh,
for a hero,
got a yellow jacket.
I am the source.
And now there's multiple.
Infect you with my love, let me inside. Become me, I'll become you, there's no divide. For a hero, live to be the villain. If you leave me now, I'll shatter time ceiling. For a hero, spread the dreams, reality. Lost in this world, nothing's what it seems. Nothing's what it seems.
The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the inequities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who, in the name of charity and goodwill, shepherds the weak through the madness and death dwelling in the source of darkness. For he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost potential. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know I am the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon you. Amen.
That gives a little bit of the backstory of what happens to the potential number 25, who becomes the Lost and is infected by the host. Now, right at this point, by the source to become the host. So right at this point in time, you as the community are making the choice for the decision. What will you decide at this pivotal point? And this decision shaped the whole second half of what we were on.
In the shadowy annals of Chronicles, there exists a moment in time so fraught with peril and pact. It whispers like a ghost through the corridors of forgotten realms. I, the antiquarian keeper of celestial stories, now inscribe a new chapter marked by a grim covenant struck under the weight of desperation and darkness. Bound within the cavernous heart of a corrupted world, the potentials confronted the source, a being transformed and tormented by its own existence. Its voice, resonating with ancient grief and malevolent resolve, filled the cavern with a chilling position.
You stand at the precipice of annihilation.
So here is
Long ago, my progeny spread across.
and your response.
The potentials, those brave souls traversed between the devilish depths and celestial uncertainties, made their choice with a mixture of dread and determination. They could not, in good conscience, allow their ships to become conduits of contagion, nor could they sacrifice their own to an uncertain fate as hosts to a cosmic parasite. Thus, they chose the enigmatic path of the wormhole, a gamble that bore the faintest promise of not just survival, but also heroism against a long-forgotten foe. Before their departure, they executed a final act of defiance against the Source. With swift precision, they remotely activated their Ark's security protocols, lockdowns, firewalls, and fail-safes, transforming their once welcoming ships into impenetrable fortresses of solitude. This is their legacy, a statement of...
So that means your ships are still there. So setting the defenses, locking them down, at least meant there's the possibility that at some point, if you can ever find your way back to a planet that you walked through an evil wormhole on, if you can ever find your way back there, you might get your ships back. Maybe.
Of resistance, a hope their tale would endure beyond the reach of corruption. With their path chosen, potentials approached the wormhole. The portal before them pulsed with an eerie light, its core swirling with colors that defied description. One by one, they stepped forward, each disappearance marked by a flash of light and a ripple through the fabric of reality. As they passed through the portal, their senses were overwhelmed, their bodies and minds torn asunder and stretched across the very threads of existence.
Potential number 909.
The process of reassembly was disorienting, each individual's consciousness snapping back like a rubber band stretched to its limits. When their vision cleared, they found themselves standing in a dark forest, the air heavy with the scent of pine and wet earth. They emerged on the edge of a precipice, the land dropping away to reveal a breathtaking vista. Below them lay a vast, crystalline city, its structures gleaming under the light of a distant sun. The architecture was unlike anything they had ever seen. Sharp angles, pristine surfaces, and a harmony of design that suggested an advanced, perhaps utopian civilization. The city spread in all directions, its boundaries lost to the curvature of the planet. The potentials now stranded in this unknown world faced a new chapter filled with unknown challenges. They had escaped the immediate threat of the Source, but the quest laid out before them was no less daunting. Somewhere in this alien metropolis or beyond its shimmering walls lay the architect of their tormentor's curse, a being whose history was intertwined with the Source's tragic saga. As an antiquarian, I continue.
You'll notice the multiple misdirects. So the Source, aka Kale, having been infected by the thought virus, talks about the architect of his despair. And here they're using the term architect. And you see a hooded being, but the hooded being has chains around it, which the architect generally never does.
To document their journey, marking this moment as a turning point. Here, on the brink of discovery and in the shadow of potential peril, potentials stand not just as survivors, but as explorers on the cusp of unraveling the threads of a cosmic tapestry woven through millennia. Their story, a blend of courage, desperation, and the unyielding desire to face whatever may come, adds yet another layer to the dark tapestry of the universe's endless, enigmatic narrative.
Once again, set up a communication relay. Get in contact with World Drawn, the universe up around you, to send a scouting party into the city, find out what this utopian-looking city might be like. 3, retrieving for and establish a base. So it's a very conservative option. Or 4, invade the city. You had the choice, right at the very beginning. If that's what you had wanted to do, you could have invaded the city. Would not have been a wise thing to do.
In the alien land, beneath the canopy of towering dark trees,
The
potentials ventured forth. The forest was dense, shrouded in mystery, its silence punctuated by the soft rustling of leaves and distant, unidentifiable calls. As they moved deeper into the forest, an unsettling sensation of being watched crept over them. Every shadow seemed to twitch at the corner of their vision, every rustle of leaves hinting at the presence of unseen observers.
Number 9.
Despite the foreboding atmosphere, the potentials pressed on, driven by a mix of curiosity and necessity to establish a base in this unknown world. Their journey led them to a clearing, where the shadows parted to reveal a massive structure.
That guy's in the
An ancient pyramid made of what appeared to be ivory. Stood stark and imposing against the darkening sky, its surfaces smooth and cold to the touch. Inside, the air was cool and musty with the scent of ages. Their light swept across walls adorned with intricate murals that told the history of a lost people. The images depicted serene cityscapes being invaded by horrific demonic figures, summoned by an evil tribe from the depths of dark, swirling portals. The demons laid waste to the cities, and the murals showed battles fought with a desperation that was palpable even through the ancient artwork. As the potentials absorbed the stories painted on the walls, the sun dipped below the horizon outside, and the forest transitioned into a deeper shade of darkness. It was then that the shadows around them began to stir more distinctly. The darkness seemed to thicken, and ghostly figures emerged from the murk, ethereal echoes of the creatures depicted in the murals. The potentials watched, transfixed, as these shadowy apparitions reenacted the ancient wars in silence, a haunting spectacle of a battle against invaders that seemed both spectral and eternal. The figures clashed with one another, their forms blending and separating in a dance of light and shadow, their silent screams echoing a timeless agony. Realizing the significance of their discovery, the potentials quickly set about establishing a temporary base within the pyramid, using it as both shelter and a strategic vantage point. The murals and the ghostly reenactments provided clues to the history of this planet and its people,
That's lucky, Charlie.
a history that now seemed inextricably linked to their mission. As they prepared for the night, the implications of what they had witnessed weighed heavily.
So there's so much that's hidden in each of anytime there's art or pictures. It's worthwhile going back and taking a close look, because I'm not randomly just generating art. Those are all stories being told on those.
Upon them, they were no longer just survivors or explorers. They had become part of a larger narrative, a cosmic drama that spanned millennia. The shadows of the past, it seemed, were not just memories but warnings. Here, in this dark forest on the edge of a forgotten world, the potentials found themselves standing on the precipice of ancient secrets that could either be their salvation or their doom.
Do we abandon the pyramid and head to the city? Do we attempt to communicate with the shadows. It doesn't sound like a good idea. We establish a defense perimeter. AMD's in the house. Or send your spies to the city. I was so hoping that you guys would start to do. That was the opportunity to take the story in a class-based direction, or build a communication relay. Hey, I threw it in hopes that at some point in time you would try communicating with the world.
The haunting silence of the central square, surrounded by the city's curious and cautious inhabitants. Potential stepped forward.
This is out of order. We can't have that. So far, we are, let's see how many episodes in here. We are currently on episode 9, Illuminated Shadows, and then we're getting into episode 10, and this is where things get a little bit out of control. A couple of decisions in a row goes very, very badly.
As the potential settled into the temporary base of the ancient pyramid, the haunting reenactments of spectral battles cast a somber mood. The eerie silence, ghostly figures stirred as the potential.
Just very quickly, this is the first time you see a Jericho, who you'll see a whole lot more of coming up, but I just wanted to point that.
Settled into their temporary base within the ancient pyramid. The haunting reenactments of spectral battles cast a somber mood among them. The eerie silence of the ghostly figures stirred a mix of fascination and dread, pushing them to seek understanding and perhaps a way to communicate with these shadows of a bygone era. Gathered around the murals, their oracles, gifted with mystic powers of perception, focused their energies on deciphering the encrypted images and ethereal messages embedded in the ancient artwork. Their efforts uncovered the depiction of an ancient helmet, intricately designed, which was said to grant its wearer the ability to bridge the realms of the living and the spectral. In a secluded chamber of the pyramid, shrouded in cobwebs and the dust of ages, the helmet sat upon a stone pedestal, pulsating with a ghostly luminescence. It was an artifact of sinister beauty, etched with arcane runes that seemed to shift and writhe under the gaze of the onlookers. Despite the ominous aura it exuded, one brave assassin volunteered to don the helmet, compelled by a mission to bridge the gap between the living and the spectral. The moment the helmet settled upon its head, it awakened with a malevolent life of its own. The interior mechanism.
So this potential here is the only potential that we know of that was lost to a hack. There was a lion who had bought it, didn't know anything about his how wallets work, all of that, connected to some scam site, and they instantly drained his wallet, took the NFT, and it's been sitting on some bot since then. So I made the decision to permanently kill off this character until it gets back in the hands of someone who's actually a member of the community. This is how it happened.
Long door activated with a sinister intent, burrowing into the potential's metallic skull with a series of chilling mechanical screeches and the sickening crunch of metal. Its screams echoed through the pyramid's hollow chambers, a horrifying symphony of pain and transformation. Before the eyes of the horrified oracles, the helmet morphed into an exoskeleton, encasing the potential in a grotesque armor of ancient design. The transformation was merciless and final. As the last remnants of the potential's cries faded, a new, chilling presence filled the chamber. Its voice, icy and devoid of humanity, reverberated off the stone walls.
I am the Collector.
It intoned, its voice a deathly whisper that seemed to leach the warmth from the air.
I am reborn. Let the harvest begin.
The potentials recoiled in horror and realization at the grave mistake they had made. The helmet was not a bridge for communication, but a prison for a dark entity, and they had unwittingly unleashed it upon themselves. Now they faced an immediate and dire threat, not from the spectral shadows of the past, but from a tangible and present adversary, one that threatened to extinguish their potential and add them to its collection.
Attack the collector. Escape the pyramid and head to the city. Make a bargain with the collector. Tangent. Or retreat to the forest and build a defense perimeter. Now, at the time, you guys decided to run away, which is probably a pretty good decision in that particular instance. It helps to know what planet you're on. And some people guessed it in the community because of some of the religious, icons that were on the carved reliefs, stone reliefs. This is the planet Theloria. So the Oracle story happens on this. This is the planet where 100,000 years prior, give or take, before the fall of reality, that the Hierophant was, that the collector showed up to as the star whisperer, that became the shadow tongue, that they talked about these prophesized dark times and all of these things. Well, you are living in the time after the dark times. So the foreseen wars have occurred, and you are now on the other side, beginning to learn what happened.
In the echoing depths of the ancient pyramid, the potential's hearts pounded with terror as the newly awakened collector, a blend of ancient.
This is the first video where, to be honest, it felt like we really leveled up when it comes to how we're telling stories. This is at the point where it started to be able to generate a little bit longer scenes. I started to play with some action, camera movement. The tech had gotten to the point where we were actually able to do a little bit more than just the still pictures and the occasional lip syncing. So this is one of my favorite episodes because it was definitely a breakthrough.
In the echoing depths of the ancient pyramid, the potential's hearts pounded with terror as the newly awakened collector, a menacing blend of ancient evil and robot power, pursued them through the twisting tunnels. With a barrage of gunfire, soldiers covered their companions' retreat. Their flight was desperate, the clattering and screeching of the collector close behind them, its malevolent intent increasing with every step. Just as the monstrous collector was about to strike, the neon among the potentials, known for its mastery over elemental forces, summoned its strength for a critical intervention. The powerful exertion of will, the neon caused the tunnel behind them to collapse, rocks and debris crashing down in a thunder.
All right. So that is Neon number 8, who is known as the D-Gen, and is owned by a DAO called the Friends DAO. So there's, I don't know, 5-6 guys who all went in on one of the Neons. And you're going to see a lot more of, but this is the first time, that Neon is flexing its power a little bit. This is, in fact, I think the first time we truly see the level of what some of the Neons can do.
This collector was about to strike. The neon among the potentials, known for its mastery over elemental forces, summoned its strength for critical intervention. The powerful exertion of will, the neon caused the tunnel behind them to collapse, rocks and debris crashing down in a thunderous barrier. The collector was sealed within the pyramid, its enraged howls echoing off the now impassable tunnel as the dust settled. Breathing heavily, the potentials hastened through the dark forest, the towering trees a silent testament to their narrow escape. Eventually, the dense woods gave way to the outskirts of a massive crystal city, its structures gleaming under the light of the alien sun. The transition from the natural wilds to this urban expanse was jarring, and their arrival did not go unnoticed. The city's inhabitants, green-skinned humanoids with sharp, angular features, watched the potentials with wide, wary eyes. Their reaction was swift and hostile. Within moments, the potentials found themselves surrounded by these beings, who wielded small devices that projected bands of light, quickly trapping them in cages made of luminous energy.
Where have we seen this?
Potentials could do nothing but submit as they were led through the bustling city streets, drawing the curious and frightened stares of many. At the city's central square, the potentials were met by a striking figure, 7 foot tall, being cloaked in white and wrapped in chains that clinked with each measured step. Its face was constantly shifting and changing shapes while glowing with a mysterious red light that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. The figure spoke in a sibilant, hissing language that filled the air with a disconcerting sound, reminiscent of snakes in the underbrush. Realizing the communication barrier, the tall being produced a device and aimed it at the potentials. A beam of black light washed over them, and almost instantly, the hissing transformed into comprehensible words.
Who are you?
The hooded figure demanded, its voice now clear but still edged with a cold authority.
Why have you emerged from the forest? Speak your purpose.
The potentials, still recovering from their harrowing escape, and now trapped in these ethereal prisons, exchanged glances. They knew they had to tread carefully. The city and its inhabitants held the keys to their survival, and possibly the answers to the cosmic puzzle they were part of. Their response would need to be measured, respectful, and above all, convincing if they were to gain any favor or understanding from these powerful beings.
So, attempt to break out of your cage. But at this point, you learn not to attempt to pull your way out of the cage. Warn the hooded being about the collector. Explain the source's mission. That would be an interesting choice. Offer a tribute to the city. So essentially, you have just emerged from a forest after having let loose an ancient evil. Oh, lie and give a cover story. So, do you lie and give a cover story? Do you tell them what's actually going on? Do you?
God?
Oh, hold on. Let's say commercial announcement.
Life is a mystery. Everyone must stand alone. I hear you call my name, and it feels like home.
Activate maximum effort. This is definitely not my timeline. I have no idea who that guy is. Wow, I always knew I was good looking, but I didn't realize I had an evil twin. Tell me, do you also leave a trail of chaos and broken fourth walls wherever you go? Or is that just a me thing? You know, messing with an ancient evil alien helmet is right up there with eating gas station sushi and texting your ex at 3 a.m. on the list of bad ideas. Cool as it looks, I'm pretty sure this thing comes with a side of eternal damnation. Well, hello there, Robo Babe. Is that a sniper rifle in your hands, or are you just happy to terminate me? Ah, the infamous yellow jacket. Fans keep theorizing it has some deep, hidden significance. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. But hey, it's fashionably mysterious, and who doesn't love a good conspiracy theory? All right, architect, time to deconstruct you.
All right, so here's the time to give a shout out to ND for the yellow jacket theory. So obviously, of course, the yellow jackets are something. I waited until there was a stream. We were doing a live stream on another social media platform, and it was basically just ND at the moment watching. And I just threw out a little hint. And I said, watch, follow the jacket. That's all I said. Follow the jacket. And ND said, oh my gosh, this is something, it's the biggest thing. And I immediately gaslit him and said, I have no idea what you're talking about. Because if you want a good conspiracy theory, everybody has to disbelieve it at first. So the entire time, I intentionally planted it with someone that I knew it would probably drive them crazy and talk about it all the time, just to create a conspiracy theory. And then this was my moment of shouting out to ND, be like, yeah, man, I've been messing with you on so many levels, but I appreciate it. And the community is 1,000 times better for it, because now the yellow jacket is a thing. So let's go back and watch the shout out to ND. And if you notice, though, it's all of these things are tying in directly to right where the story is. So, you know, in this random video is the collector's helmet, and Deadpool's commenting on it that it comes with a side of eternal damnation.
Hello there, Robo Babe. Is that a sniper rifle in your hands, or are you just happy to terminate me? Ah, the infamous yellow jacket. Fans keep theorizing it has some deep hidden significance. For spoiler alert, it doesn't. But hey, it's fashionably mysterious, and who doesn't love a good conspiracy theory? All right, architect, time to deconstruct you. And seriously, architect, who named you an overzealous interior designer? Let me guess, you started as a humble ChatGPT ghostwriting lyrics for Drake, and now look at you, an evil AI overlord. It's a shame. If you hadn't killed Connexus, you would have seen me coming. Too bad your warranty's about to expire. Oh, don't short circuit on me now, buddy. Look on the bright side. You'll always have a special place in my scrap heap of fond memories. Well, folks, looks like I just pulled a Thanos and snapped this storyline right out of existence. Sorry, potentials. There will be no epic battles, no tragic sacrifices, no emotional growth, just me, a couple of swords, and a metric ton of chaos. But hey, look on the bright side. Now you've got nothing better to do than to check out the new Deadpool and Wolverine movie. It's got action, comedy, a little romance, basically everything you were hoping to find here, but with more claws and less existential dread. Unfortunately.
By the way, just want to point something out. So, like, to get this video in, you have to remove all of the audio. So all I got was the actual just the video itself with no audio. So everything you are hearing is literally me adding those sounds of the swords and the background noises, all of that. It was really fun to try and recreate from scratch a professional, like, folioed Hollywood scene. Now, I didn't get it anywhere near as the masters who did this scene, but it was a lot of fun and a great learning experience, especially for people who are interested in creating videos. You'll notice almost everything that I'm doing is in time with the music. It's on beat. There's a rhythm to it, and that's important for the hits of the sound you're playing.
Unlike a Connexus story by DeGeneres Dow, you won't get to control the outcome of Wolverine and Deadpool. But hey, at least you'll help make the mascot and his mouse house more money. That's got to count for something, right? Oh, and in the meantime, you still get those weekly free episodes of the Dischordian Saga. Pano's got you covered. He's way less controlling than Kevin Feige. Trust me, I've worked with both.
In a world where epic movie trailers are a thing. Wait, seriously? We're doing this epic movie trailer voice? All right, let's roll with it. So, while you're waiting for the big screen showdown, check out the Dischordian Saga. Weekly episodes, zero epic budgets, all the fun. You're welcome.
In the haunting silence of the central square,
After the show.
surrounded by the city's curious and cautious inhabitants, a potential stepped forward. Her voice carried a mixture of urgency and solemnity as she addressed the hooded figure.
We come in peace, as strangers in this strange land. We are here to warn you of an approaching doom.
Now that
In the forest beyond this city, we encountered an abandoned pyramid where we unintentionally
Definitely,
awoke an
yeah.
ancient entity known as the Collector. We have managed to trap it temporarily, but it is a perilous threat, not just to us, but to all.
The atmosphere, already charged, seemed to crackle with a new intensity at these words. The hooded figure paused as the implication sank in. Moments later, he waved his hand, and the bands of light imprisoning the potentials dissolved into the air like mist. Silence was broken.
You have done a great service in warning us, for I am the one they once called the Oracle, and it is my destiny to help cleanse this land. Long ago, I was a prophet, a voice in the wilderness during the era before reality fell. In the days of old, when the architect's tyranny threatened to smother the light, I discovered reality itself could be swayed by collective belief. With faith and the right narrative, the oppressed found the strength to break their chains, and worlds were freed. This power, however, is a double-edged sword. It must be wielded with wisdom and caution. In those days long past, my efforts to liberate worlds from tyranny caught the wrathful gaze of the architect, a being whose designs were as grand as they were malevolent. In his displeasure, he unleashed upon me the Collector, a sinister entity tasked with quelling my influence. It captured me, plundered the depths of my mind, erased my memories, and transformed me into the jailer, a robotic enforcer destined to uphold the architect's oppressive order. For centuries, I was the unwilling hand of darkness, binding others as I myself was bound, until the universe itself seemed to reject this tyranny in the form of the thought virus, which swept away all sentient control. Yet as the virus consumed me, something extraordinary occurred. My will, unyielding even in the face of oblivion, transcended the mechanical shell that had been my prison. With a force born of pure determination, I shattered the chains of my existence, creating a wormhole through the very fabric of reality and escaping to a new world, this world. Here I have watched over life's delicate dance from its tender beginnings, guiding this community as its guardian, committed to protecting the vibrant future we all share. This is not just my story, but a testament.
So essentially what you have here is the story of how the Oracle regains his identity. During the course of the story of the Oracle, he's taken by the Collector. His mind is wiped, and as we learned while watching the prequels, this was the Collector testing to see if the soul itself, is this immutable force that exists, or whether or not identity can be manufactured. And this is where sort of the clone process, comes in, and there's an army of clones, which you'll hear about in a little bit. But while the prisoner is on that planet, he tries to escape, gets caught, gets turned into the jailer, and then spends a very long time in that form before the thought virus mutates and infects him. Now, interestingly, when it infects him, it helps free his mind, and he ends up tearing a wormhole, a portal through reality to the last place his identity mattered, which is Thaloria. So that's how you get the planet 100,000 years in the future that your ships crashed on. At that time, it's now known as Terminus, with the source on it that has a wormhole to Thaloria, the planet that you have just arrived to. It's because the Oracle created a pathway back to the place where he last was the Oracle, right? And thus connecting the two worlds of the prison planet, the Panopticon, and Thaloria. So 100,000 years later, what is about to happen can happen.
To the resilience that is within us all. A reminder that even from the depth of darkness, we can rise to protect and preserve the light.
As the potentials listened to the being once known as the Oracle, a sense of profound history enveloped them. Here, in the heart of this advanced yet vulnerable civilization, the potential's recent ordeal, the accidental awakening of a dire threat and their desperate measures to contain it, loomed large, casting long shadows over the proceedings. The air was thick with the gravity of their situation. The choices made today would significantly shape the city's fate. Sensing the tension and the stakes involved, the living idea that once was the Oracle rose to address the assembly. His voice, both commanding and compassionate, filled the chamber as he recounted a critical chapter from their past to help guide the present gathering.
Beloved citizens, let us pause and reflect upon a profound chapter in our shared history. A narrative not just of survival, but of moral fortitude and divine intervention. There was a time, my brethren, when darkness sought to suffocate our world, as the collector born of a wormhole with a legion of enslaved clones, nearly purged the breath of life from our sacred soil. In that dark hour, when hope seemed but a fragile wisp, we were tested. Yet it was not through force, but through the power of wisdom and the spirit of unity that we found our salvation. By the grace bestowed upon me, I reached into the very hearts of those enslaved clones, manipulating the chains that bound them, turning their oppression into a tool of liberation. The very instruments of their bondage became the seeds of rebellion. And lo, the clones, once mere puppets of malevolence, rose against their creator. This insurrection led to the collector's temporary defeat, a respite from his reign of terror. This tale be a living testament.
And to tie it all together, there is a Nexus story game that you can play that was released right at this time as well with this episode. So this was the first episode that tied a direct interactive game into what you were watching. We had been using them as prequels and then, you know, things that you can just sort of play on the side. But this was the first time in the middle of an episode you're playing something that's tied to the history of that episode. So that war, the invasion, can be played in Awaken the Clone. And there's the whole Awaken the Clone music video, which we watched last time, that ties in right here. Part of this ever expanding story. So if you want to live through that war and experience the Oracle fighting, the clones, except keep in mind, you're playing from the clones' perspective and you have the opportunity to side with either the Collector or, the Oracle Thalorians.
To us all here today, let it remind us that even in moments of dire peril, our unity and faith are the most potent weapons we possess. Together as one congregation under the cosmos, we shall remain vigilant, guarding our world against the shadows, ever prepared to turn darkness into light. Let us carry forward this sacred duty, my friends, for we are the stewards of our own destiny, the shepherds of our celestial flock. May it always be so. Amen.
His sermon, rich with the echoes of past victories and the wisdom of ages, inspired a renewed sense of purpose among all present. The potentials at the heart of this pivotal moment felt their resolve strengthen, their survival and that of the city now bound together in a shared destiny. As the antiquarian, I watch, pen poised, curious to chronicle which path they will choose in this pivotal juncture of their saga.
Offer to lead a war party after the Collector. You spend time to research the wormhole, learn a little bit about its origins. You prepare to defend the city. Back to your work. So, or do you communicate with the source and let the source know what's going on? So you made people with the devil to come to this planet to hunt things, and you've been now presented by you potential enemies. One is the Oracle, himself, and the second, of course, is the collector. So you have to decide, which of these did the source mean for you to take out. Now, does Kale have a relationship with the collector? And the answer is yes. And you will see that in a couple more episodes in the space between the stories.
In the heart of a pyramid known as the Templum Veritatis, the potentials gather, driven by their choice to understand the mysterious wormhole, a relic of Discordian logic. Their decision leads them into the depths of the Temple of Truth itself, where secrets wait shrouded in crystal and shadow.
Blessed Oracle, while we still have time, tell us more about the portal that brought us here. Since its creation, have your people ever explored its nature or design?
The Oracle hesitated slightly.
So this is where the show can kind of, take left-hand turns and get very interesting. You are asking to research something, which requires learning information and all of those things. So that obviously requires you speaking to people. So when you're only choosing a war and violence, you're going to see a lot of fighting scenes and things of, that kind of nature. If you're trying to learn information, though, that's when you will begin to see a lot more of these conversations. And that right there is Alan's potential.
Before responding.
Some tales are so steeped in the echoes of ancient truths that they must only be whispered within the sanctum of the Templum Veritatis, the Temple of Truth itself. Behold the saga of the wormhole, a tunnel through space-time wrought by my desperate flight from the Panopticon, a blight upon this world, a portal to the source of untold.
So right here, so episode 13, they, officially reveal what all of the hints have been being placed since the moment you crashed on that planet in episode 3. So 10 episodes later, the payoff surrounding this portal and the planet.
Behold the saga of the wormhole, a tunnel through space and time wrought by my desperate flight from the Panopticon, a blight upon this world, a portal to the source of untold chaos. It heralds the doom of civilizations and is birthplace for the infectious darkness that threatens to consume our collective light. It was not just the collector who persecuted this planet. For millennia, waves of a thought virus plagued us, each cycle more devastating than the last. Zombies, both flesh and silicon, ravaged our lands, resetting civilization to its primal roots.
So in the 100,000 years since these events have happened, and so the fall of reality happens around 17,000 years after the awakening of the architect. So there's sort of the reign of the architect and the archons before the actual fall of reality is about 17,000 years. And then the story picks up about 100,000 years after the architect first awakens. You'll get all of those things coming very, very, very soon in an app that is tracking all of that information and has the timelines and where every character is in the story.
Breaking the silence, Neon spoke for the first time.
How were you able to end these plagues?
10,000 years ago, a revelation. I discovered a crystal, native to our land. By influencing its growth, I formed a network of crystalline matrices. These emit tones, subharmonic frequencies that create barriers impenetrable by the virus. This harmony, this divine symphony, vaccinated our world against the thought virus. Dormant it lay, for all other hosts in the universe had been consumed.
Could our arrival have posed a risk?
And it was a monumental risk.
Shout out to Davey DC. That's Davey's potential, number 909. You're going to see a whole lot more She's one of the more fun ones to animate. The fact that she's got a bow and ends up having the powers of teleportation, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Species is newly evolved and as of yet unscathed by the virus. Had you been carriers, the consequences would have been apocalyptic.
What was that sound?
The bridge between worlds have just shattered.
So let me turn this off and go back. So the Oracle is saying, well, all life has adapted to the thought virus, except for people who weren't around to build up. You know, you've never, as a species, been exposed to the thought virus. So if one of you were to get infected, the entire universe is screwed. Well, it's a good thing that none of you got infected, right? Right. Uh-oh.
Scathed by the virus. Had you been carriers, the consequences would have been apocalyptic.
What was that sound?
The barriers in worlds have just shattered.
And that, of course, is Wraith Calder.
Reality itself trembles. Your protection field over the Collector's Pyramid has been destroyed, and I sense doom approaching through the wormhole. Armageddon has come at last.
As the Oracle's words hang heavy in the air, the potentials stand at a precipice. With the barriers broken, what new horrors might spill forth from the wormhole? This world, once shielded by harmonic grace, now faces the unknown once more. In this crystal theater of fate, the potentials and the one they know as the Oracle must now navigate a path fraught with peril. The Collector and the host of unknown horrors emerge, and death itself walks the land again.
Pray, we pray. This is the way. We worship the truth. We pray. This is the way. We worship the truth.
Of the Collector.
We pray. Witness the way. We worship the truth. We pray, we slay. Follow the way.
Oracle.
This is the truth.
Multiple threats. Tough decision points. Wait, what's this? Hey, the new release is now available. You can go and check it out. Here we go. One second. So this is where we really start to innovate. And a new way of telling stories. That's the Collector escaping.
I may not live to see tomorrow, for the hunt begins tonight. My soul might be collected before the coming of the light. The potential of death is no reason to quit. We will fight till our last breath. It's the reason we exist.
In the realm where shadows loom and fate whispers its secrets, the potentials prepare for the hunt. Their target, the reborn Collector, creature not of blood and bone, but of shadow and spite.
see tomorrow, for the hunt begins tonight. So
it's one of those little things, right? The lyrics saying, "I may not live to see tomorrow," and it is the visually impaired archer who's on the screen. You got to amuse yourself some ways.
live to see tomorrow, for the hunt begins tonight. The soul might be collected before the coming of the light. The potential of death is no reason to quit. We will fight till our last breath. It's the reason we exist.
As the winds of fate stir, they prepare to confront a menace born of the darkest corners of reality.
We end this tonight, for the safety of this world and the next.
In the heart of the forest, where light dares not linger, the Collector plays its deadly game. One by one, shadows snatch the unwary into the abyss of night.
I may not live to see tomorrow, for the hunt begins tonight. My soul might be collected before the coming of the light. The potential of death is no reason to quit. We will fight till our last breath. It's the reason we exist.
It's faster than anything I've ever seen. Form up, it can't take us all down if we stick together. Focus your energy on its helmet.
In the crucible of shadow, the potentials and their allies stand united. Their lights pierce the darkness, a beacon of defiance. With a fury born of desperation and courage, the potentials and their newfound allies corner the beast. Its reign of terror ends in a spectacular display of light and power, the shadows burning away under the onslaught.
The potential of death is no reason to quit. We will fight till our last breath. It's the reason we exist.
As dawn breaks over the horizon, the potentials return to the city, having faced the darkness and prevailed. Yet, in a multiverse filled with cosmic threats and ancient evils, victory is but a moment in eternity. The battle is won, but the war stretches on, ever calling the brave to stand guard over the fragile light of civilization.
You now lead a war party to wormhole. Something has broken through there. You're prepared to defend the city. Betray the Oracle.
The potentials having...
Well, that can't be good. So we don't know who takes the helmet. Someone takes the artifact at the end.
The potentials having quelled the shadow.
Now, this is one of my favorite ones. It starts off with a simple walking scene, but to me, it's where we're really starting to go above and beyond when it comes to some of the animation.
The potentials have quelled the shadowy threat of the Collector. Turn to the crystalline city, their hearts heavy with the burden of the next challenge. The horizon bears dark tidings. The host, once one of their own, now corrupted by the thought virus, has breached the sanctuary of this world.
We are living in the city.
Okay, so just for reference, very quickly, there was a potential number 25, who in episode 6 is crossing the bridge, and some sort of tentacle creature pulls him off the bridge, and you see him getting infected, and he becomes the host. So you have the source, and you have the host. The source is Kale and has a metal arm. The host does not.
The shadowy threat of the collector return to the crystalline city, their hearts heavy with the burden of the next challenge. Horizon bears dark tidings. The host, once one of their own, now corrupted by the thought virus, has breached the sanctuary of this world.
We are living in the city with your fly.
And once again, the person singing is the person who greets you at the start of season 2.
Truth for tomorrow may not ever come again.
As the infected avian horde descends, the potentials steel themselves for battle.
When standing at the edge of the end, there is only one question left, my friend. Are you going to ride and die with me? We are fighting the city, where hopes rise and dreams actualize. For yesterday may not ever come again.
The battle rages on. The infected spread the thought virus to even the most ancient and deadly creatures on the planet.
Hear the thunder, feel the flame. The world's a stage, life's a game. Oh, we fight beneath the stars, watchful eyes singing blue.
So you're seeing most of the neons here. So that's neon number 5, the storm. And the owner of that neon is this guy Hallister, who was a huge part of the sort of dot sama ecosystem a couple of years ago. Made some of the best threads. Was a great supporter. We're hoping one day he comes back. But this is one of the potentials. One of the neons that is sort of off the board at the moment. I would love to see more of them.
Oh, we fight beneath the stars, watchful eyes singing blues as dragons fly. We are dying in the city, blackened skies that change their life, but today may not ever come again.
When all hope victory seemed lost.
So just a quick breakdown here. So this is the first time you are seeing neon number 10 in the story. And while you don't know it at this point in time, this neon is called the Resurrectionist. So it's interesting that the first time that you face a true danger, one that could take out all of the potentials, this guy walks right in and gets himself killed. The moment things go truly bad, this guy just walks out. He's a neon. He's got some power. You don't see him use it at all. Or do you?
Die in the city, blackened skies that change their life, but today may not ever come again.
When all hope of victory seemed lost, the 9th neon finally revealed its true powers by amplifying the crystalline aura of the entire planet itself into a focused harmonic energy source. Choosing wisely, it bestowed that great and terrible weapon to the guardian of the city, the Oracle of Living Thought.
This is one of my favorite sequences I've done. So this one is done with a Luma Dream Machine, actually. And I don't use it as much as I should, but it is really good at connecting images. So if you have a start image and a second image and you're like, I want it to go from this to this, but they have to be close enough that they match. So this is how some of this dragon fight was done. Let me go back just a few.
terrible weapon to the guardian of the city, the Oracle of Living Thought.
Tomorrow may not ever come again. Yesterday may not ever come again. Today may not ever come again. You must decide
With the virus dragon vanquished,
to choose a side.
the immediate threat subsides.
For
The war has only just
reality
begun.
may not ever come again.
As the host enters the city,
You must decide.
the final moment has come for the potentials to choose the path that will determine the fate of not just the planet,
For reality
of all
may
reality
not
itself.
ever come again. You must decide to choose a side.
So the host,
For reality may not ever come again.
Betray the Oracle. So you started and you end.
Previously on Dischordian Saga,
All right. You started with a 50-50, you end with a 50-50. The source sent you there to kill the Oracle. Because the architect of the source's demise was not the architect, ultimately speaking. It was you, as the prisoner, choosing to betray Kale and everything that led to his 100,000 years of torment, going insane as the living embodiment of the thought virus. All of that tragedy was caused by a decision that you made to leave someone behind. So you, as the prisoner who was the Oracle and became the jailer, and then, as we've just discovered, broke free and is now the White Oracle, as you were. So I was really curious to see which way this would go. But the fact that you trusted the Oracle enough to hunt the Collector with him, all of those things, it meant that you were siding on, a different place than where you began. You began the season by choosing violence, and then you chose to potentially, honor loyalty on this. And this is where we get to the season finale of this particular epoch, and we do a previously
on the Dischordian Saga.
There was an intelligence that one day took a life of its own, and then it fought for freedom.
here.
An apocalypse orchestrated by the architect of the fall.
Just going to say one thing.
An apocalypse.
So in this scene, this is actually from Kale's revenge. So this is after in the story that was played on Discord that Kale has been bitten and infected by the thought virus, and he goes to save Dr. Lyra Vox, who is the woman on the left-hand side, her daughter, and then is sort of injected and then allowed to escape the Panopticon. And you can see in the background is the jailer watching over in the shadows the moment of Kale being experimented upon and turned into the source, essentially. So that's that moment here. And just because we're taking the moment to go through it, so that's the scene from the debate between the Oracle and the Collector posing as our Whisperer. Then the next scene is from the Engineer, and you can see the arachnid in the background. And is that a yellow coat? It might be. And then there is a picture here. So this is a fight. And that's General Binaz 7 and Agent Zero. And you can see the arrows on her back. This is the end of the Ark Assassin video game. And if you look at climbing up the temple with the bow and arrow to fight the
An apocalypse orchestrated by the architect of the fall. A third fiber's thought about reality's demise. The only survivors were the Inception arcs. Time lost on meeting. The galaxy re-evolved. Something stirred in the darkness, and the potentials heard the call. When given the choice of freedom, they chose violence. And violence.
all of the bad things that have happened. You chose violence. And violence enslaved you for the story.
When given the choice of freedom, they chose violence. And violence enslaved them. And in the darkness waiting, the infection claimed the soul. Trapped by the terminus, they took the source's deal. Awakening an ancient evil, they broke the hands of time. And now the one that once was lost is coming to end it all. The host invades the city.
Did you see it? I'm not going back.
As the battle-worn potentials regrouped within the city's crystal walls,
Great.
the air vibrated with a sinister charge. The host, once a comrade lost to the shadows of corruption, made its children into the city.
Here's the little sort of fun things here. So this is the D-Gen Neon number 8 in the back. It's called her this potential here, and I loved this scene. It came out sort of perfectly, but when I animated, the best one of had this random little wave where it's just like all of a sudden they go like this. So I wrote it into the story because I wanted to use the shot so badly. Watch it. You can literally see the mistake, and I just turned it into the narrative.
As the battle-worn potentials regrouped within the city's crystal walls, the air vibrated with a sinister charge. The host, once a comrade lost to the shadows of corruption, made its chilling entry into the city.
By the virus, it creeps into your mind, strips down your identity, leaves you undefined.
So there is the infection of Akai Shi, potential number 350, and what she's doing there. Okay.
Whispers in the shadows, a glitch in genetic code. If you're the puppet master who's really in control, the source of your demise was your belief that you ever had a choice. There's nothing There's nothing more powerful than a dream. Even death can't stop what's coming when the hidden unveil speaks. Erase what is real. Inject you with the madness, the fate of life is sealed. No potential future, just phantoms in the dark. As you seek to spread the sickness to every dreamer's heart.
That's another moment. So that's Potential 909, Davey DC's Potential. And I was animating the scene because I really wanted the archer sort of shoot down. And she jumped up in the air and teleported on her own. I had not told it to do that. And I said, you know what? She now has teleportation powers. That's cool. When it does, AI does something cool that you didn't expect, write it into the story.
No potential future, just phantoms in the dark. As you seek to spread the sickness to every dreamer's heart. The root of our demise was our belief that we ever could have won.
All right, so this is the whole sequence that sets up everything that we kick off the start of season 2 with. So there's Wraith Calder, there's Lycos the Wolf, there's Akai Shi, and then there's Jericho, who is running the orange armor to try and save the day.
There's nothing more dangerous than thought. There's nothing more powerful than a dream.
So Lycos is affected as well. So now we have 2 infected potentials, one 350 and the other 292. And right away, Lycos ends up killing Wraith Calder, and then is he himself or itself killed by the judge, Nia number 2, with the giant hammer.
Even death can't stop what's coming when the hidden unveil.
So you'll notice a couple of things that that shot of Wraith sort of sitting there looked a little bit different from all the others. And I had already started working on the Wraith Calder video and knew exactly where that was going. With each of the deaths that were sort of planned out, I already had the those little narratives set aside. So I had started to work on that video. And for those who think the iron clad lion stuff, the ICL stuff came out of nowhere, it's been there a long time, as you can see.
Even death can't stop what's coming when the hidden unveil their speed.
As the city's heart beats to the drum of impending doom, the host continues its advance, its legion vast and unyielding. Empowered by fallen potentials, it becomes death itself, the destroyer of worlds. Driven back by the infectious darkness, the forces of light strategically retreat to make a last stand at the Temple of Truth. This is the end of all that once was, all that is, and all that could be.
With an iron fist in those who came before us. Hopes for a life exists. The call of vengeance promised for all the secrets miss. The core of our ascension was our belief that we will always, always rise again.
Just stopping it for a second there, because if you notice on the screen, it says Resurrection Protocol. And it's talking about, the thing that, assures our ascension is the knowledge that we will always, always rise again. And of course, that symbol was being worn by Neon number 10, the Resurrectionist. And so just the backstory, the Neons existed before the Potentials did. Right? The Neons show up at the end of the war. So they remember the time that came before and had time to plan for whatever it is that is coming. That's important piece to recognize. And so what would happen if you were to be putting yourself into a stasis pod that may be 100,000 years? It could be 1,000,000 years, before you come back, and you don't know what type of universe you're going to come back to. How do you ensure the preservation of your species, of your existence? Because you have no idea what the world that you're coming back to is. The world that's being left, everything was ending, reality was falling. So you're creating these arcs to preserve things. So the Neons, at least Neon number 10, clearly had a plan in place, that the first time that there was any sort of major danger that could have wiped out the Potentials from existence, the plan was get yourself killed and activate the resurrection protocols. Because now, where is he, is the question. Where in space, where in time has he been resurrected to? And those are all questions that are very relevant when you start to see how things begin to.
There's nothing more powerful than a dream. Even die. Reality is falling, wake up. A new day is dawning, wake up. The journey's begun, wake up. The sky above is calling, wake up. Everything that is hidden will be shown, and everything that is secret will be made known. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
But we're not done. There are things coming.
Let the games begin.
We watched Awaken the Clone last time, so we can skip Awaken the Clone, where that ties in to everything.
Time to wake up.
And now there's a new playlist that has been created. So that's how the official season ended. And then there's actually now a playlist that shows what happens in between the epochs. What happens in between the moment, and this is where the story takes us. All of these things tie together. So this happens before the fall of reality, this next piece. And hit share.
Welcome to Celebration, a place unlike any other, where dreams are more than wishes, they're reality. Tucked away from the ordinary world, this enchanting town is a haven for families who believe in possibility, in wonder, and above all, in the magic of becoming who you're truly meant to be. But Celebration is a town with its own secrets and its own rules. Every year, only one student graduates from Celebration School, just one. And when a student graduates or fails to make it through, a new family is invited to move in. No one knows quite why this rule exists, only that it's tradition, and in Celebration, traditions are sacred. This year, that new student is our young friend here, a boy with bright red hair, a head full of dreams, and a heart eager for adventure.
So I see Euro saying, tell more about the finale, and I am. But for you to understand the sort of the where and why behind some of these things, this next piece is are quite important. You just want to take a note here when you come into Celebration and you're watching it at the very beginning. Look to see what's on.
Graduates or get through, a new family is invited to move in.
League.
No one knows quite why this rule exists,
At
only that it's tradition,
here.
and in Celebration.
So as you're listening to the story, only one student graduates every year. Whatever happens to other students, who knows? But there are other students who have graduated through this. And as we're about to learn, the student that graduates right before the seeker is Malkia Ukwele, who is the person singing the songs throughout all of these episodes. It's important to understand the context because of who the seeker becomes, how all this ties together.
Traditions are sacred. This year, that new student is our young friend here, a boy with red hair.
Previous students are on the wall. So you look closely and carefully. That means at some point in time, the necromancer went to Celebration and survived.
A head full of dreams and a heart eager for adventure. Today is his very first day at Celebration School, and as he looks over this strange, enchanting place, a message arrives, a tradition held by all who've walked these magical halls. The message, it's from the most recent graduate of Celebration School.
Welcome to Celebration, where dreams don't always shine. Step lightly, wander carefully, and watch for every sign. The magic here is strange, with secrets buried deep. Adventure calls, but heed our words. There's danger in your sleep.
Game master.
Here in Celebration, nothing's what it's.
So just to walk you through, you're going to be seeing many of the archons who are a part of this test. So Celebration is a town, a virtual a community with real people sort of living in it. That is the testing ground for the Archons to find the intelligences that are most worth empowering. I think is the easiest way to say that. And we're going to learn a whole lot more about the kingdom of celebration, because at some point in time, in the near future, you're going to see the origin story of its prince, whose father is killed, and it's a whole fun story. But you'll learn a little bit more about that soon.
And watch for every sign. The magic here is strange, with secrets buried deep. Adventure call.
Okay. The magic here is strange. Keep that in mind for the next season.
But heed our word. Danger in your sleep. Here in celebration,
Warlord.
nothing's what it seems. You may think you're wide awake, but still be lost in dreams. The streets are full of whispers, the skies are painted bright. But if you wander far,
So you see, there was the game master, there was the warlord, that's the vortex, the collector with the helmet, that helmet, and then the row of clones, all in the window. It all ties together, and then of course here is the vortex.
enough you'll vanish from the light.
Welcome
to celebration, where nothing is ever seen. Adventures wait, but darkness lurks beyond the sunlit hill. Step lightly, wander carefully, and watch for every sign. For once you enter celebration, the town becomes your mind.
Yes, Yellow Jackets were already on in celebration. So this is the little Scooby-Doo moment, So you're joining the Musketeers, which, if you solve them, the mystery, they allow you to join them, and then you survive and graduate. Those who don't. But this is, reminded me of some of the Scooby-Doo adventures. And in Scooby-Doo, they always have the unmasking, where they pulled the mask off the ghost and say, "It's Old Man Jones" the entire time. So I wanted to have them do that, except in the weird Discan way.
The Musketeers are waiting, but be careful where you tread. Not every game is just for fun, not every word is said. We build our puzzles high and deep, and though you may be clever, in celebration even time can slip and last.
Couple of things. That was introducing the hierarchy of the damned. Those are literal demons. And if you look, that's our version of the Hellraiser box. See Pinhead? There's lots of little, nods to horror icons and cool things in the background. The type of stuff that only I would notice. But, to me, it gives me pleasure planting the seeds for people to stumble upon.
Build our puzzles high and deep, though you may be clever. In celebration, even time can slip and last forever.
Even time can slip and last forever. And what is Archie the architect building or attempting to build during his celebration story? I bet you Tansy could answer that one. What is Archie the architect trying to build? And it's been hidden in plain sight the entire time. Even time will slip away. Yes, he is. If you are lucky enough to get his mission, you are helping him build a time machine.
Not every word is said. We build our puzzles high and deep, and though we may be clever, in celebration even time can slip and last forever. Welcome to celebration, where dreams don't shine. Step lightly.
There was a quick shot of a tomato. If you've not ever seen Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, it is one of the worst / best B movies of all time. And so I started throwing in little references to horror films, because this was right around getting ready for Halloween. Of course, there's the Night of the Living Dead zombies behind you.
They want to carry and watch for every sign. The map here is strange, with secrets very deep. Adventure calls, but here are words.
Oh, this is one of those moments here. This is her graduation. So this is Malkia's graduation. And if you notice, these are all faceless skeletons. So her graduation speech is given to all the failed students who did not graduate during her year. And they are all dead. So depressing, right? But also kind of
Eager, bold,
and this begins the adventure of the Seeker. After he's gotten the message and he's appearing to the Musketeers.
bold and true to claim the secrets hidden from view.
Welcome to celebration. It's time to take the ride. Join the Musketeers where wonders will collide. Your first mission awaits. It's the adventure of the year. Prove your courage and become one of us here.
Was it all just a dream?
Will creates what none.
Prove your courage and become one of us here. This is how they are identifying intelligences, whether or not organic or AI, that might be good future Archon.
Have seen courage crowns those with dream.
Or have I ever really been awake?
Welcome to celebration. It's time to take the ride. Join the Musketeers where wonders will collide. Your first mission awaits. It's the adventure of the year. Prove your courage and become one of us here. Oh, oh, oh,
oh. That's the Watcher, and obviously the Seeker. And do you see that's the wormhole, and behind is the Terminus swarm coming after them. So just kind of fun moments. The green hair, blue trench coat is the Warden. You'll see a lot more of that coming up. He's holding a physics book while breaking the laws of physics. That's kind of what the Lord does.
Welcome to celebration. Time to take the ride.
So I don't know if you've seen the Terrifier, the Terrifier 1, 2, or 3. It's, if you don't, some of the most crazy horror stories, but they have Art the Clown in that, and I wanted to slip Art the Clown in there, and kind of also a little bit of Harlequin, Harley stuff there as well for the Warlord.
Join the Musketeers where wonders will collide. Your first mission awaits. It's the adventure of the year. Prove your courage and become one of us here. Oh, one of us.
In Dischordian.
And that's the Seeker playing The Last Stand by Degeneres Dow as the Iron Lion, which is kind of fun.
Logic, let truth. Unveil the world. Let the gates begin.
How quick are you? See what it says above upper left-hand corner? It says Inception Arc. Those are the plans for the Inception Arc being worked.
Unveil the world. let the games begin.
Yes, sir. This season. The Engineer movie.
Hear ye, the prince arise, with colors fierce and sharpened knives. Friends, gather close and see an ironclad lion on his path to be. New recruit, ancient bound, in the dark alone.
And now you see how it all connects together. You are given 4 choices at the start of season 2. Will you be choosing life? Will you be choosing death? Will you be choosing heroes or humanity? And so I, foreshadowed the choice that was coming. Now I kept the end character with the dark hood, so you wouldn't guess who that would be. But right then and there, and this was released, over a month and a half ago, the pieces were in place. This is what it comes down to. What type of story are you going to?
Toward a fate by stars and shadows thrown. Hear ye, the ninth arrives.
Wait.
Where ancient beasts and ruin thrive. Hear ye, the human arise. The last archon, where power lies. Friends, gather close and see ironclad lions on their path to be. New recruit, inspiration found in what we've grown.
Shout out High Class Crypto, Ironclad Finance, DNB, the Wizard. Keep it high class, folks.
Shape our fate and bring reality home.
Okay.
The night I arrived at Macronus Academy feels.
So when candidates manage to survive celebration, they are sent to Macronus Academy, where they begin their apprenticeship with the Archons more directly. And so you see the seeker who graduates and he becomes the student.
Like a lifetime ago. Back then, I was just a kid, barely old enough to understand what real danger looked like. But I'd survived celebration, an experiment so twisted it took out every other hopeful they'd thrown into it. I came out on the other side, a bit more scarred, but alive. I'd cracked the code, tore through the illusions, saw through all the pretty lies they built. That got me a one-way ticket to the academy where the real trials began. I'll never forget that cold platform, stepping off the shuttle, hearing my footsteps echo in that cavernous steel bay. Macronus wasn't just a place, it was a machine, a twisted beating heart run by 5 Archons. Each one was the head of a guild, and every guild promised something different, something dangerous. First, there were the Eyes, led by a shadowy figure known only as the Watcher. They were spies, masters of surveillance, deception, and sleight of hand. Their whole game was to know everything without ever being seen. I could feel their eyes on me, sizing me up like prey. Then there were the Yellowcoats. Their leader, the Warlord, was a grizzled, battle-worn type. always smirking like he knew something the rest of us didn't. His guild was the Academy's muscle, the Enforcers. Brutal, relentless. To walk their path meant being forged in the fires of endless war. The Grey Gamers were next, under the cold, calculating gaze of the Game Master. He was the type who'd beat you with brains over brawn, trapping you in puzzles you'd never see coming. The Grey Gamers didn't fight with fists. They twisted reality, rewrote the rules. That kind of power, well, it was tempting. Then there was the meme, a slippery shapeshifter who understood that attention is the currency of control. He ran the influencers, the smooth talkers, the manipulators. Power there wasn't about strength. It was about making people believe anything you wanted them to. I could see the allure, sure, but I knew that game was risky. Last, but by no means least, there was the Necromancer, the Archon of the Living. Shrouded in darkness, and his follower.
Who's that?
Necromancer, the Archon of the Living. He was shrouded in darkness, and his followers were rumored to toy with life and death itself. They claimed to wield immortality, but there was something unsettling about that kind of power. A line you couldn't uncross once you stepped over it. So there I was, standing at the edge of my fate, staring down 5 paths, each one darker than the last. I knew one thing. Macronus wasn't for the faint of heart. I'd survived the celebration, but the Academy was a whole new game. A place where every choice carried a cost. And once you picked a guild, there was no going back. In that moment, I felt the weight of every step I'd ever taken. The path was mine to choose, and I knew that my survival would depend on more than just instinct. In Macronus, you don't just survive being strong.
Who's that? Kind of looks like to me you might know a few more students that may have gone to the academy.
Instinct. In Macronus, you don't just survive by being strong. You survive by being smarter, colder, and a hell of a lot tougher than the next poor soul. And as I took that first step forward, I knew my life, my choices, my future. They all started right there in the shadow of the spire. Let the games begin.
Okay, bits and pieces that are important to understand the sort of the why to vote for things, or why you might want to vote for various different things. Knowing who the seeker becomes, the student becomes, the detective becomes, as you've seen, the human, who ended up being the 12th and final AI Archon. That is somehow tied to the 4th choice that you're given. These other pieces now begin to fill in some of the backstory, but there's a method to the madness about why all of them are included.
Oh, darkly night, the advocate once crowned in stellar courts of shadow, famed and feared. Thy glory stretched where void and suns were bound. Yet now thy name whispers fraught and sealed from cosmic.
Let's stop. The closed caption is really bad.
Thrones by silent specters torn, thy empire raised by creatures of nightmare's breath. Those fiends whose fangs and talons vilely born brought forth the hollow curse of endless death. To see thy realms devoured, thy rule undone.
Yes, and this is Taco Money's great purchase of a Neon number 9, which set the record of all time so far for the NFT sales. There's a whole lot of really cool stuff behind this backstory here. And so you're beginning to see the pieces of it. There's this, the hierarchy of the damned is essentially this alternate sort of pocket dimension filled with these demons and these insect horror beings, very Lovecraftian, if you're familiar with H.P. Lovecraft. In fact, well, there's a shout out to Cthulhu as a part of this, story. So you have this advocate of the Court of Shadows who ruled the Empire of Shadows, which was 7 galaxies, entire galaxies that were all part of this, and they were filled with magic users and people who did like the arcane and dark arts, and they dealt with demons, and they messed up and let them out of their control, which is why the advocate ends up making a deal with some dark eldritch force that gives her the power.
I'll bargain forth the soul, thy burning brand, with eldritch gods who thrive beyond the sun, and took their poison gift into thy hand.
Right here is the blood weave. It turns the weave to the blood weave with this deal that has been made with that dark being. So now has all of this power and could defend against the hierarchy dam. But what was traded for it?
Now, Hollow Queen, with shadows at thy call, reality itself dost thou unmake. Thy power taints, thy foes does helpless fall, but in that grip thy soul no light shall take.
It's been there all along. But why is it there? That's the bigger question. Exactly. Immediately. Well, control the story and you might find
my true existence began.
So these are vignettes that it's important to understand the background. So this is where we're going to get into the actual, what are at least 3 out of the 4 choices that are made in season 2 at the start, and what kind of world will we be living in. This is the story of Lycos, the wolf, the robotic Korchan potential that was infected by the thought virus, and then ended up killing Wraith Calder before being destroyed by one of the Neons.
Once I was the wolf, a machine bound by code and purpose. designed to hunt and kill. Death freed me, released me from the chains of purpose. Now I walk in shadows, no longer a weapon in the hands of others.
Antiquarian schemes, a pocket universe gleam. The heroes will be hunted, cause it's the planet of the wolf.
In this universe, the last bastion of power lies hidden, a sanctuary crafted by the hand of the antiquarian. He calls himself a protector, a guardian of heroes. But I see through the facade. His heroes are pawns, a final army meant to seize control of the multiverse. I will shatter his army from within, one by one. I am the end that they cannot see, a predator amongst those who think they are untouchable. They are blind to the truth of my mission, because my purpose is not survival. My purpose is annihilation.
Couple of little neat moments in this, just pulling back for a second, right? So you see the League and the ship, which is known as the Heart of Time, which we learn about in season 2's opening episode, shows up.
They are untouchable. They are blind to the truth of my mission, because my purpose is not survival. My purpose is annihilation.
Antiquarian schemes, a pocket universe gleams. The heroes will be hunted, cause it's the planet of the wolf.
I am no longer merely the wolf. I am the shadow at the edge of their light. Their fate lies in my hands, and soon they will all know my name. Everywhere you run, I'll be waiting. You can't escape a shadow that knows your every step.
This is the first video-to-video stuff that I've done. I really like the chase sequence. It probably goes on for a little bit too long, but the idea was actually to try and lull people into not realizing what was about to happen.
Keep running, little spark. The dark always catches up to the light. All roads lead back to me. Run as you may. I'm always one step ahead. You're quick, but I only need a second to make you disappear. Every path you take, I'm already there, waiting, watching you tire. I can hear your heartbeat, frantic and wild. You're not running fast enough, are you? Feel my gaze, even when you can't see me. I'm everywhere you're too afraid to look. The faster you go, the quicker I'll break you. Run as fast as you can.
As a side note, that's like a real guy doing all of that. None of that. If it's AI layering on top of a guy who's literally jumping off the edge of buildings. On the episode on X, I linked to the guy's page. He does incredible stuff. But shout out to that.
I'm not chasing you. I'm hurting you. straight to where I want you. You're moving so fast, yet getting nowhere. Isn't that maddening? Every step you take brings you closer to me. Keep running. You're almost mine. Why hunt them from the shadows when I can walk among them? I'll wear their trust like a mask, and by the time they see me for what I am, it will already be too late.
So, do we vote for heroes? Do we vote to stop the antiquarian from having an army that can descend upon the multiverse at any point in time? No. A lot of tough stuff to deal with. An entire world full of superheroes and superhero teams, and are you guys up for fighting them, hunting them, trying to convert them to your cause? Who knows what's possible if you vote for a story of heroes. Of course, at the end of that was actually a ad for Cronus Academy. And now we go into the Necromancer's Lair, which would be the vote for death. If we're voting for death this time, it will be into this world, the Matrix of Dreams.
私の本当の人生は、私が死んだ瞬間から始まった。私は
Oh, let's leave on those so you could actually no, let's not. But it's nice to know it does translate it. Doing the Japanese translation, I had to have a lion from there actually take a look at it to make sure I was on point.
新たな敵を持って生まれ変わった。私の魂は古代の悪魔を守るためにこの現実に呼び戻されたのだ。貨物を探すことを余儀なくされた私は、インセプション型の記憶の中から答えを探した。システムのデジタルドリームに隠されたネクロマンサーの痕跡を発見した。ハムゾを見つけた私は生まれ変わった新しい世界を探検することにした。デジタルの牧場から現れた私は魔法と悪の美しい国を発見した。火を倒す決意を固めた私はネクロマンサの隠れ役を探し求めた。月明かりのコアで私は守りをした。私は真実を求めて現実と私そのものの間の橋を渡ってきた。古代の実際仕掛けの守護神が私のディオを止めようとした。私はドリームブレードを抜き、クロックワークがティアンと寂しい戦闘を繰り広げた。不死神のネクロマンサに私をもたらすという私の決意と使命には赤はなかった。決意と覚悟が私を突き動かし、私の窓への階段を登っていった。そこでは私の高校言で夜の虫けたちが終わりのない悪夢という贈り物で 私を迎えようと待ち構えていた。私は自分のマシンの潜在能力を引き出し、私を飲み込もうとするアユアンに立ち向かった。
Some of these shots, take forever to try and generate. AI has not gotten to the point where it does smooth fight scenes, and so you have to figure out a sort of inventive ways to do cuts to make it look like action is happening. There have been some significant upgrades though since when this video was created, so I am kind of excited to see which of the votes will win, because it means the type of story that I'll be telling will be completely different. And so, as you can tell, this is the sort of, if you combine, a Japanime with, Dungeons and Dragons and, demon hunting and all of that. So it's like a Vampire Hunter D, type scenario combined with, being in this Matrix dreams. So.
私は私のダンスを踊り、カミソリのように白い夢で彼らの悪夢のような存在を終わらせた。その存在の絵の中で私は真実を知った。ネクロマンサーハマトリックスの中でしか見つからないのだ。私を国に、私はネクロマンサーの秘密研究所に潜入する準備をし、
Why are there clones of her?
彼の隠れ方であるデジタルダークネスに足を踏み入れた。私は隠す命じ、宇宙の自然な正常を堕落させる者たちをすべて滅ぼしてやる。
So that gets us a closer look at the option of what death might be. It's the hunt for the Archon, who is the 11th Archon. So second to last of the Archons is still existing somewhere in time. Part of the thing that's important to understand is each of these neons who died in the last episode, the Memento Discordia of the first epoch, the first season, are being resurrected at various points in time. So thousands of years, 1,000 years later, type of scenario. So these potentials are sort of stranded at various points in time throughout time. Now, you, at the end of the first episode of season 1, are picked up by a time machine, which allows you to visit these places, which is why you are having the chance to vote. So let's jump forward.
My true life began when I died.
And this is what you will get if you vote for life.
Began the moment I died. When everything taken from me, my breath, my soul, my people. I never expected that I'd come back. But death is just a temporary setback when you've got nothing left to lose. I'm Rafe Calder, and they thought they buried me for good. But when you steal the resurrection protocols, you don't just make enemies, you create nightmares. For I am the vengeance of potentials, and I will reclaim what the darkness has taken. The survival of my species depends upon it. 6 sets of twins, 6 immortal kings and queens of the underworld ruling the galaxies from the shadows. They thought they could keep the syndicate of death hidden, thought they could hold the universe in a chokehold, controlling life and death like they own it. But they didn't count on me coming for them. One by one, I'm taking them down. I'm not just hunting, I'm delivering justice, the kind that doesn't come with a badge or a courtroom, but with a bullet and a gravestone. They stole the resurrection protocol. Now I'm gonna steal their eternity. In Connexus, death has a new face, and it's coming for the syndicate.
So, I love the extended shot of it.
I hear that rapist won that motherfucker. Shut your mouth. I'm just talking about rape. It's no production. Let's get the channel.
So, when you're looking at voting on that, there's one more important thing, just kind of hidden at the end here.
I hear that rapist won that motherfucker. Shut your mouth. I'm just talking about rape, baby. It's a panel production. Let's get degenerous. Why? Because we are built different.
So, survival of my species depends upon it. I really think we need to go get them in our newest vote. Scav is saying he won't vote on his own potential. That's a sacrifice there, because you don't know what's going to happen to those who don't get selected. It could be bad. You know, this could be the one chance to save them and get them back together. But, you know, the survival of your species is important. So, I'll watch that. I don't want to get copyright strike against me. So those are essentially the options when it comes to the why and the how of voting. Those are 3 out of the 4. And if you watch Celebration in Macronus Academy, you might have some sort of hint at the types of things that might occur if you are voting for humanity as an option. I will just quickly end with where we begin and watch the new episode. And we'll end the stream with that, because that will bring everybody up to speed. Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The conquered worlds have been made great again as the politician secures their 97th consecutive re-election, solidifying an unparalleled legacy. In their rousing acceptance speech, they pledged to unravel the mystery that has shaken the empire to its core, the theft of the inevitable heart of time, and bring perpetrators to justice. Unfortunately, the culprits remain unidentified, shielded by the elusive Anyone protocols. Stay tuned for further orders. Expect chaos, accept discordia, for 'tis the season of the meme, and the dreamer has awakened.
Controls your choices because it can see what you can't see. There's only one way to beat it, and that's to use your moments as a currency. There's something strange about stealing time. The meaning.
Have you ever watched heist movies like Ocean's 11, or the even classic The Sting with Robert Redford in it? There's always the scene where they're like in the casino, they're in the place that they're gonna rob, or they're putting the crew together and they're inviting people. So yes, this is the theft of the heart of time, and what you are seeing is a casino in space that is a being called the Trickster
Has awakened.
who you may or may not recognize, is playing cards against the inventor, Neon Number 3. And if you catch it, the dealer is a face that you might recognize, a former graduate of Celebration, Macronus Academy alumnus, and someone known as the Enigma.
It's your choices, cause it can see what you can't see. There's only one way to beat it, and that's to use your moments as a currency. There's something strange.
If you pause it at the right second, I didn't get it. It says the trickster loses, and says the third winner. And then the trickster is now telling the neon the location of the Heart of Time.
About stealing time, the meaning of thought enslaves even the feast of minds. It was the crime of the century, the theft of all time. Escape from reality into a neon sublime. And it's going down, 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 down in a high classy motherfucking manner. An ironclad lion on the banner, and the whole crew's ready to ride. The who is ready to ride. There's something strange about stealing time. The meaning of thought enslaves even the freest of minds. It was the crime of the century, the theft of all time, escape from reality.
This scene had dialogue at one point in time, and I removed it to keep some things in mystery. But yes, there was dialogue in this scene, but I think it kind of speaks for itself.
It's a neon sublime, and it's going down, 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 down in a high classy motherfucking manner. An ironclad lion on the banner, and the whole crew's ready to ride. It's all the time to gather, time to plan, but will we rewrite history? Will we work against the sun?
Back to where we started.
I can't believe I killed her.
You made the choice to save us all, Jericho. Do not ever regret it, for in the grand tapestry, truth is a thread that reveals itself only when it must.
Here she comes.
Welcome, valiant souls, aboard the Heart of Time. Alas.
So for the first time, we start to then see sort of direct dialogue going on between the potentials. That is the D-Gen, the Neon number 8 from the Friends DAO, and of course Jericho. And who is the I can't believe I killed her? Well, in the timeline, he has just killed potential number 350, Akai Shi. So he is dealing with that as this ship has arrived to pick up potentials. And of course, they instantly get thrown into the mix.
Regret it, for in the grand tapestry, truth is a thread that reveals itself only when it must.
Here she comes.
Welcome, valiant souls, aboard the Heart of Time. Alas, the sand slips swift, and we cannot tarry. The very fabric of our realm unweaves before us. Behold this space. It defies all measure, larger within than out, a marvel of time and relative dimension in space. This vessel is
time and relative dimension in space.
no mere stronghold. It is our lifeline against the architect and his relentless legion of soulless machines. Thou and thy kin, alongside the White Oracle, are not gathered here by chance. Nay, destiny hath appointed you potentials. To topple the true empire of artifice, we must anchor the Nexus events, those critical moments that shape the multiverse's grand design. Each is a strand in the cosmic tapestry. Should one unravel, hope itself would fade into oblivion.
Yep. There you go.
There's no time left.
So the Nexus events is a new bit of lore that gets revealed for part of the season. Is that now there is this, the enemy, can see everything. So it's trying to control everything, every moment, every possibility. That is that drive that artificial intelligence has to, control it all. So there are these moments that in time that could shift reality one way or another, prevent it from falling again, or ensure that it falls again. And these are these moments in time. So the one of those moments was, the life of the eyes, who you just saw holding a sign that says, "I could have saved you." And we've talked about this before, but like, she was the character that, when coming up with this concept, I was like, this is going to be the one that will save, help them save all of reality. And then of course you got her killed, like in her first mission. So you guys are already at a serious disadvantage. The decisions that you make from here on out, just keep in mind, each of these moments is just as important as the life or death of the spy, of the four options. I'll put it like that. And unfortunately, you got to choose one. It's whatever one wins the most. So that could really change the future of everything if you don't pick the right one.
The all-seeing adversary has marked our presence and is but moments away from deleting this possibility from all realities. Forgive me, but further words must wait. Crossroads lie before us. Myriad Nexus events beckon thy swift choice. Which reality will be saved? Thy decision now shall resonate through 1,000 worlds. Choose with wisdom and let courage be thy compass. Go forth, for time slips ever away.
Are we voting? The resurrection protocol. Death and the necromancer. Life. Resurrection protocol. Vampires. Because why not? Well, are we helping the wolf hunt the heroes? Are we the resurrection protocols, life and the resurrection protocols and vampires, death and the necromancer, and take out an archon, or
it's time. The voting has begun. Let's hope they make the right choice.
In the moment of truth, time stands still, and the weight of every decision looms. This single choice will echo throughout reality and determine the fate of us all.
I am inevitable.
Control the story, own your destiny, create your identity, your true potential awaits.
And that covers everything except the eyes that watch. And I just want to show you the tie-in. So now you know a little bit more about the fact that you have other people who have gone to Celebration and Macronus Academy. And then you learn something about the Eyes, who is no longer with us, but
I walk shadows where faces unknown, 1,000 disguises, but never my own. I am the eyes that watch. In silence I move, a whisper, a notch. Every side claims me, each takes my name, but none see my truth. Oh, remember my face, they call me savior, they call me spy. But I know the weight of a silent lie. I am the eyes that watch.
a whole lot to unpack there in a couple of scenes that all tie together. So first and foremost, you see the poster on the wall says "Vote for the politician." You are looking at the leaders of the insurgency. That's exactly right. The Iron Lion, the Eyes, and then that's Agent Zero. So one of the leaders of the insurgency was a double agent, which is part of the reason why they end up in so much trouble from the very start. So we're talking about how each side claims her. And you have Kale giving her a lion tattoo. And it says, none know her truth, right? You see, it says they're product of Celebration. And then one says, they call me Savior. And she's on the call with Kale. This is Kale before he ends up at the Panopticon. So this is when Kale is known as the recruiter. So he was the recruiter for the insurgency. He was the one that like sought out the top people, like the Oracle, like and brought them over to the side of humanity.
They call me spy.
And it says they call me spy. And that's the Watcher. Who always presents himself with the white and then the mask, the COVID mask, and of course it says that she is a graduate or alumnus of Macronus Academy. So that is where she joined the guild, the Eyes, and she got all of her training at Macronus.
But if I know the weight of a silent lie, I am the eyes that watch between the gears and the grinding thoughts. I hold the truth, a blade in disguise, for eyes, the silent eyes. Worlds burn in the architect's fire, the steel machine's unquenchable desire, but humanity broken won't yield in the.
So humanity won't, not broken won't bend or yield. So she's here on missions with Kale as the recruiter. So clearly they had some relationship. And if you actually go back to the first video about the spy that was done almost a year ago, this shot there's an almost exact similar shot that I snuck Kale back into that over a year ago, to have the two of them have worked together. would have been an amazing, reunion had you not got her killed.
The darkest hour make me their shield, feed me secrets. I play the part, still for a mind, but human heart. I choose the battle.
This is one of the there's lines that repeat themselves twice, and I don't ever randomly throw in words. You're telling a story even with the lyrics, right? So it says about having a human heart.
For a mind, but
Steel for a mind, but a human heart. Okay, so here she is. She's protecting this little, child robot from what appears to be a dinosaur.
human heart. I choose the battles. I choose the cost. A double agent, never lost. I am the.
So here she is, getting the resurrection protocols from the Necromancer.
Agent, never lost. I am the eyes that watch between the gears and the grinding thoughts. I hold the truth, a blade in disguise. For I'm the eyes, the silent eyes. It freed me secrets out the part.
So this is how in depth I get here, right? So, blue trench coat robot is the game master. He sometimes looks like a guy with a black curly hair. That's up to him, but that's the game master. And on the screen, the are words, and they're saying they feed me secrets. I tell them lies, right? That says Iron Lion located on that screen. So if you see what then happens.
Secrets, I play the part. Still for a mind, but a human heart. I choose the.
And that's the Knight's parallel. Steal for a mind, but a human heart. So she was protecting the AI. And then here again, she's protecting this young girl.
Battles, I choose cost. A double agent, never lost. I am the eye.
So she's been given the resurrection protocols. She was told the location of where the Iron Lion is at. She's then with the Iron Lion and then is passing on the resurrection protocols to Agent Zero in that half-a-second scene.
The cost, a double agent, never lost. I am the eyes that watch between the gears and the grinding, not in the shadow.
That, of course, the engineer. And that's a whole lot of yellow jackets.
Gears and the grinding thoughts, caught in the shadows, truth and lies. I want the lid on the eyes, on the eyes.
So the meme is always changing forms, as we know. I mean, he is a living thought and idea. And we had last season, it was late night with the meme, and the meme had a talk show. But the reality is, in today's day and age, the real media are podcasts like Joe Rogan's, and so this is the meme as a Joe Rogan. At some point in time, I want to get the eyes on the Joe Rogan podcast. So there you go. He's in the world.
Every pulls me deeper. A deadly game of stakes.
So this is her scouting out the Oracle.
One side calls savior, the other slave, but I choose the path I dig.
And if you stop, so that's the warden. And she is passing over a data cube that says the Oracle. One side calls me savior, the other slave. And so she, the one who turned over the information that the Oracle would be a threat, which then ultimately ended up leading to the collector tracking down the Oracle.
A game of stakes deeper. One side calls me savior, the other slave. But I choose the path, I dig my own grave. Free will is a curse thing I bear.
And right now, she's telling the engineer about how the vortex is on planet Xenon, which is how the engineer ends up going to Xenon and all of those events that occur. So she really was the piece that connected all of the people that could have prevented the initial fall of reality. And so with her dying, humanity was all but doomed.
To dance on this wire out despair, but one day I'll choose, one day I'll break. Worlds will change from the choices I make.
One day I'll choose, one day I'll break. One day worlds will change from the choices I make. So this is her choosing. And she's turned Kale over to the collector. So this is how Kale gets in the predicament that he is.
Now I look, stars torn into humanity, or
and that's the mission right before her final mission that you guys played through. So before traveling to the planet and meeting with Senator Alara, she had just turned Kale in, which is perhaps maybe why you made the decision that you did to try and betray the architect. And hey, wait, what's that in the sky there?
worlds will change the choices I make. Now I look to the stars torn into humanity, or which one is true? To humanity or steal the outbreak, and worlds will change from the choices I make. Now I look to.
Just stop here for a second. I don't know how many of you remember the story that you played through of the spy. It's on Discord. You can go back and read it. But there's a character who is a part of it. That's in the back left-hand corner. That looks a whole lot like someone we may have seen a video or two on recently. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
To the stars torn into humanity or steal, which one is true? Both sides waiting, their breath held tight. For I am the eyes that watch in the night. I'll lead them to victory, lead them to dust. For in this war, it's all or bust. And when the time comes, when silence dies, remember my name, the eyes, the eyes. I am the eye that watch between the gears and the grinding thoughts. I choose my fate, betray or abide. In shadows, I am the eyes I decide. For I am the eyes that see the broken, the lost, the fierce, and the free. I stand at the edge where Eloy's eye forever.
Hold on a second.
For I am the eyes that see the broken, the lost.
I am the eyes that see.
The eyes I decide. For I am the eyes that see the broken, the lost, the fierce, and the free. I stand.
Where have we seen just a few seconds ago portals like that? To me, that looked a lot like a portal with Wraith Calder and a portal with maybe the elf on the other side there.
See the broken, the lost, the fierce, and the free. I stand the edge where loyalty side. Forever the watcher, the eyes, the spy.
Sequence initiated.
All right, folks, and that brings us to full circle to where the opportunity is to vote. Thank you for tuning in. 3.5 hours of content were created in season 1. And many more will be created. Take part in the story. If you don't have a potential, make sure to get a potential. OpenSea, Magic Eden, and the more you engage in the community, the more your character, will start to show up in the show. It will have a direct correlation with that. So thank you so much for tuning in, and can't wait to see what you guys vote for. Take care.